Hey guys, welcome back. This is Tanushree. Very recently, I started recording and sharing my life events in this YouTube channel as a way to express myself and also share my learnings along the way. For those of you who have not seen my previous videos, I'm in a journey of self discovery where I've also decided to give entrepreneurship a go. Now, some people might say that I'm late in the game, but better late than never, right? It took me weeks and months to brainstorm the various ideas along with my partner, and finally circle down on the product that we actually wanted to pursue. If you're interested to see how the idea unfolds, please do subscribe to my channel. It would mean a lot to me. One thing I promise you that it will not be boring, and who knows, you might actually get to learn a thing or two about entrepreneurship that might motivate you to start your very own tech startup. When I started brainstorming the ideas, I started looking at the problems that were surrounding me for which I could potentially create a tech solution for. So I created this list of all these problems and started, thinking through how I can solve them. Now, one thing I can tell you from my experience and what I've come to realize is that the number one skill that an entrepreneur needs to have is to be a critical problem solver. Because I promise you, that's all you're going to get in this journey, one challenge after another. Now, let's talk about what I mean when I say you need to deep think through a solution. Let's take an example of user verification. In your platform, you have a requirement to verify every user that signs up. How are you going to do this verification? So, there are two ways of doing it. One is that you do it internally on your platform, or you integrate with a third party who's going to do that verification on your behalf. Now, you need to weigh the pros and cons of both the approaches and then take the one that suits you the best. Like, let's say you decide to learn more about the third party integration. In that case, you also have to bear in mind the cost aspect that comes with it, because for every API call that you will make to that product, you are going to have to pay a certain cost for it. And also, there's a lot of paperwork that will have to be done because now you become a client of that company. Versus if you decide to implement it internally, you now need to think about how you're going to secure that data in your database. So, this is just an example to tell you how deeply each and every feature and each and every any capability that you're building in your product needs to be clearly thought through before you decide to implement it. And please bear in mind, this is just from the product management aspect of things that I'm telling you. So, this is just an example of how deeply you need to think through every feature that you're going to have in your product and how critical it is to make decisions at each and every point of implementation, because even a slight wrong decision can really cost you a lot in future. So once you've figured out the feasibility of your idea, the next step is to validate it with the public. Generally, what founders do is they hire an agency to perform this market analysis for them. But in our case, since we were bootstrapped and we were very short on cash, me and my partner, we decided to do these things the old-fashioned way. So we went down the road and interviewed people in public to see if this was a universal idea and if they would be interested in having such a solution for them and what their feedback was in general, whether it was in support of the idea or not. This kind of market analysis can really give you confidence in your idea because it just validates it that if such a product was to go live in public tomorrow, people would be interested in logging in or signing up and using the platform. An idea is only as good as its business plan. You may have a great product that you have built, but is it really solving a genuine customer problem? Is it filling in any sort of a gap for which a user would be willing to pay you for? It is important and very, very critical to figure out how you're going to generate cash through your product. This especially is important if you want to fundraise for your company in future, because investors are going to ask you this as a very first question on how you're going to generate money through your platform. There's a lot of experimentation that is involved when you are building and launching a product for the first time, majorly due to lack of experience and guidance. Sure, there are some people who are lucky enough to have mentors or guides who have gone through the process and can save them from making the obvious mistakes. But then there are people like you and me who have to learn things the hard way. But I feel like sometimes it's good to learn things the hard way, because then when you make it to the top, it just takes that feeling up a notch. It's not going to be easy. It's going to break you to the point where you would want to give up. But that's exactly where you have to persevere, no matter if you're crying or you have your shit together. So there's a very cute video on the internet of a small Chinese kid who is crying her heart out at a school event where she's performing. But no matter how she's feeling inside, she does not stop her performance. And that's exactly the kind of analogy that comes to my mind when I think about how entrepreneurship can feel like sometimes. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content. I'll see you in the next one.